What if you could face your deepest fears? And what if I told you that fear is just an illusion of your mind? Fear is the guardian of the door that leads to your true self. This is the story of how Valentine learned to walk through that door, and how you can too. In a small village surrounded by rugged hills and whispering forests, lived Valentine, a young man whose heart beat in sync with the whispers of an ancient forest. He dreamed of great feats, but fear paralyzed him, chaining his adventurous spirit. One night, when the stars seemed to tell stories of bravery, Valentine felt a call from the forest. With a burst of courage, he ventured into the darkness. The moon, with its silvery light, illuminated his path towards an encounter that would change his life. Suddenly, a wolf howled nearby. Valentine was startled, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. He was about to flee when he saw a flickering light ahead. He took a deep breath and moved forward. There, in front of a fire dancing with the passion of 1,000 years, he found an old sage whose eyes reflected deep knowledge.
I have been waiting for you, Valentine. Today you will learn an ancient technique to stop running away.
Valentine sat at the feet of the sage, his heart open like a blank book ready to be written.
Everyone in this world experiences fear,
the old man began.
Fear is born in the mind, and because we all have a mind, we all encounter fear. The real challenge is not fear itself, but the way we identify with the thoughts that create it.
Valentine leaned in, his curiosity piqued. What does it mean to identify with the mind?
It means believing that you are the sum of your thoughts, that every fear, doubt, and limitation your mind conjures is the absolute truth. Identity is like a river. Thoughts are the waters that flow constantly, changing shape and direction. You are the river itself, the bed that holds and guides it.
Valentine nodded, but still had questions. So if I am the river and not the waters, how can I know who I truly am? The sage smiled, his eyes gleaming with understanding.
That, Valentine, is the most important question you can ask yourself. Many fear detaching from what they believe they are because they fear the unknown. But to find the answer, you must look beyond your mind. To know your true self, you must learn to observe your thoughts as if they were fish in the water. Do not dive into them or chase them. Simply observe their movement and learn to navigate your river without being swept away by the currents.
Valentine felt a shiver down his spine. The idea of not being his thoughts was both terrifying and liberating.
To achieve this, you will learn a technique that will help you observe your mind without identifying with it. It has 3 fundamental steps. 1. Be aware of the fear. Recognize when fear arises in you. Observe your thoughts and emotions without judging them, as if they were passing clouds in the sky of your mind.
Name what you feel. This act of recognition already lessens the power of fear over you.
2. Observe the bodily sensations. Pay attention to how fear manifests in your body. Do you feel your heart racing? A knot in your stomach? Observe these sensations with curiosity and compassion without trying to change them. 3. Do not react. No matter what, this is the most challenging part. Your mind will try to make you run away or distract you. It will show you catastrophic scenarios, remind you of past failures. But remember, they are just thoughts. Do not identify with them. Stay firm, like an impartial observer. Nothing without essence finds place.
The sage looked at Valentine intensely.
The mind will do everything possible to make you give in to fear. It will tell you it is too difficult, that you cannot do it. But you are more than your thoughts. You are the observer, not the participant. And in that space of observation, you will find the answer to who you truly are.
Valentine nodded, feeling he was on the brink of a great discovery about himself. How can I practice this in my daily life? He asked.
Start with small challenges. Each time you feel fear, apply the technique. Do not run away. Go through the emotion. Over time, you will realize that in the solid fortress of the eternal, nothing true can be shaken.
Determined to transform his life, Valentine began to practice. He started with small acts of bravery, talking to strangers, trying new activities. Each time he felt fear, he applied the technique. One day, he faced his greatest fear. He stepped onto the stage, his heart beating with the force of 1,000 seas. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and observed his sensations without reacting. He felt the fear but did not run from it. He went through it. When he opened his eyes and began to speak, his voice resonated with a clarity he had never experienced before. He felt the fear dissipate like mist before the sun. The audience was captivated. The crowd applauded, but he knew the true applause came from within. He had faced his fear and overcome it, not just on the stage, but in every aspect of his life. Now, every time he felt fear rising inside him, he remembered the sage's words, "You are not your thoughts, you are the observer of them." And with that understanding, each fear became an opportunity to grow. Years after his triumph, Valentine felt an inner call that led him back to the forest, seeking the sage who had changed his life. Upon arriving at the clearing where he had met the old man, he found an ancient mirror among the trees. As he looked into the mirror, Valentine saw his own reflection, and a profound understanding came over him. He had never encountered a sage in the forest. He was the sage, a manifestation of his higher self. Now, he had become the sage himself. The circle was complete. Valentine, now wise and strong, understood that his journey had not only been about freeing himself from his own fears, but also about helping others find the path to their true strength. Fear is a natural part of life, but it does not have to control us. By learning to go through it instead of running away, we can free ourselves from its chains and reach our true potential. So, to all those who struggle with their own inner demons, I invite you to join Valentine on this journey to authenticity. Let us not run from our fears. Let us go through them and discover our true strength. What fears are you avoiding in your life? How could you apply the sage's technique the next time you feel fear? Do you remember a moment when you faced a fear and felt stronger afterward? Have you ever practiced the technique from this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. Remember, every time you go through fear instead of running away, it is a step towards freedom. Subscribe to Anonymous Buddha for more inspiring stories and techniques for personal growth.